Hello everyone, I'm Samir and we are here to give you a good understanding in the concept of high-level languages. This is our team for today. I'm Samir Sankana and here we have Chamidu Bandara, Kosala Gunawardhan, Vinuga and Didula Navodya. So the way we are going to explain you about the high-level languages is mentioned here. First we are going to brief you about what is a program and how it is working. Then programming languages, and finally we are going to compare them and tell you about recent advancements and trends. With the growth of the information technology, we are living in the data age, so the programming is a crucial part of it. So development of programming languages have come a long way and is still updating, and we are experiencing the uses of them everywhere and every day. Mainly there are three types of languages: machine languages, assembly languages, and high-level languages. Here we are going to talk about what is a program. A program is just some instruction to CPU to perform some operation. So basically what program does is reading, writing and moving data and do some arithmetic and logical operation for the data. Since CPUs only understand binary numbers, the instructions of machine languages are written in binary. Here are some examples for the instructions. So to brief you about the easy way to do the programming, I hand over the control to Didula. Over to you.
Thank you, Samir. Hi, I'm Didula, and I will be presenting to you why do we need the concept of high-level languages. So, the CPU only understands machine languages, so it is impractical for humans, programmers, to write programs in machine language. For this reason, assembly language was introduced. So, in assembly language, instead of using binary code, it uses short keywords known as mnemonics. For example, adding two numbers, you could use the mnemonic add. Now, even though this assembly language programs cannot be directly executed by the CPU. It has to be converted to a binary code. For this, we use assemblers. Now, even though these assembler programs are a bit difficult to handle, because still you need to know about the CPU. Also, it requires a lot instruction keywords to even get done a simple program. Since this it is closer in nature to a machine language, it is referred to as a low-level language. So to get rid of these difficulties, high-level languages in about 1950s were introduced. Now, since to speed up the programming process, high-level languages was developed, so in a single statement could be written to accomplish many tasks. So still, these high-level languages are need to be converted into machine language. So translator programs known as compilers was used. So in programmers' standpoint, high-level languages are very preferable to machine language or assembly language. Python is one of the most widely used.
Similar comparison between the high-level languages and their similar approaches, right? So if we consider the high-level languages, we know these languages are very programmer friendly because you know that these languages are very close to human language, right? But if we consider the low-level languages, they're really close to the machine language, so they're not really easy to understand by humans. In that case, you know that these high-level languages are very easy to execute, and in the other hand, these low-level languages are very difficult to execute. And if we consider the translating about these languages, high-level languages, we need a compiler or an interpreter to translate them to machine language. But when we consider the low-level languages, we just can translate those instructions by using an assembler. And on the other hand, these high-level languages are portable, which is not for low-level languages. Well, since these high-level languages are very close to a human language, these languages get very large amount of memory to store. But low-level languages are not like that. And on the other hand, these high-level languages do not really depend on the machines, but if you consider the low-level languages, they really depend on the machines, which means suppose that we have a low-level code for ENIAC, and it's not the very same code for the EDSAC. As we know, these high-level languages were written on human language. When there's an error in the code, it's very easy to find that error, right? So the maintenance technique is very straightforward and easy. But when we compare with the low-level languages, you know that they are really written on machine language, something very close to machine language. So it's difficult to find errors, so which means it's quite complex to maintain. And on the other hand, these high-level languages, they are very common and widely used. And low-level languages are not like that because it's very difficult to find errors and those things. And we know these high-level languages are pretty much closer to human language. So in this case, we know that these high-level languages has to be translated into machine codes before they are executed. So in this case, these high-level languages take more time for execution than low-level languages. And we know that when you are writing a code in high-level language, you really does not require a knowledge of the hardware for writing programs. But when we are considering with the low-level languages, you absolutely you have to have the knowledge of the hardware, because you know that low-level languages actually they are machine dependent, right? So in this case, you have to have an idea about the machine that you are writing the code. And on the other hand, these high-level languages they really do not provide various facilities at the hardware level. But you know, as these low-level languages are hardware specific, these are very close to the hardware. So in this case, this facilitates various kinds of hardware levels. And here are some minor differences of these high-level languages and low-level languages. And however, you know that there are number of applications which provide the machine language and assembly language to facilitate low-level language.
Thank you, Vinegar. Let's move on to the recent advancement in higher level languages. Advancing a higher level programming language means that language gets more user friendly to programmers. Those are some quality to make higher level languages more user friendly. First thing is simplicity. That means programming language should be easily understandable. Second one is abstraction. That is, language should have ability to define complex code structures. Next one is suitability. A well-structured programming language is suitable for any purpose. Some examples: web development, game development, etc. Then efficiency. The implies language should be able to efficiently convert machine language. Testability with tools is another important quality. That means language should ensure tools to test, debug, maintain, and develop. Finally, it has to be well recognized and has a community of developers. Now, Chamandu will give a description about some programming languages which have those qualities. Chamandu, over to you.
As Kosala mentioned, nowadays there are different type of high-level languages which have above qualities for different programming tasks. This slide shows some of the top high-level languages and their uses. First, Python. Python is one of the most famous language around the world. Nowadays, it works with technologies like artificial intelligence and machine learning. Java is also another famous high-level language, mostly used for enterprise application development. JavaScript used in rich interactive web development. C and C++. Those languages are a little bit complicated compared to the above languages. However, for game development, to operate systems and system tools, those languages are vastly used. SQL is a different type of a language specifically used for data management in industry. Swift. To develop mobile applications on iOS, this is used. Lastly, MATLAB. For numerical computing and mathematical modeling, this is a very famous language among the scientific community. Finally, this is a slide which shows a comparison between most trending high-level languages versus most demanding high-level languages for jobs in 2022. As you can see in the slide, Python is the most famous language, whereas SQL is the most demanding language for jobs. So we have come up to the end of our presentation. We believe you got a good understanding about the concept of high-level languages. Thank you.